Testing 1, 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 3, checking to make sure. All right, this one looks like it went through. I can see our live symbol up there. I'm going to go to view channel, and there we go. 5 views. Boom. Just checking to make sure that the stream works correctly. No, we need the new one. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Checking to make sure. Check, check. Right. This one looks like it went through. All right. See our live symbol up there. All right, good. So it is showing me as connected. Hello, hello, everybody. So today is July 29th, 2026. It is currently 7 o'clock, about 7:07 in the evening. And so I'm going to go until 9, so a roughly 2-hour stream. In fact, we're going to go ahead and start this here as roughly 2 hours. And so what is the purpose of the stream? The purpose of the stream is to demonstrate the acquisition of academic tooling. So what does that mean? It's a real fancy word for saying that, like every domain, whether you are a fireman or you are a judge or a doctor or a minister, everyone has their particular set of skills that they have to develop and they have to hone in order to do well in their profession. The world of the academic is no different. It's not merely a matter of reading texts and then writing essays and practicing writing essays. There's an even more basic set of skills that is necessary to acquire and to become facile in your ability. Okay, so what that means is that there are 3 basic skills, and of course they build off of that. But the 3 basic skills are the ability to write something quickly, to write it well, the ability to categorize what you write, to categorize the ideas in order to make greater use of them in the future, and then the third basic tool, is the ability to recall and the ability to reproduce information readily and on demand. Okay? The first 2 skills, namely the ability to write something well, to write something efficiently, to write something without fatiguing your hand, is the reason for the study and the presentation of the act of shorthand. Shorthand is there. The primary reason is to reduce strain on the hand so that you are able to capture ideas, to capture them well and quickly, but to do so in such a way that you are not putting undue stress on the hand. Okay? I am currently using Gregg Anniversary Shorthand, and the book that I am copying as a demonstration of the skill of writing is the wonderful book by Sonke Ahrens called How to Take Smart Notes. How to Take Smart Notes by Sonke Ahrens. First published in 2017 and then republished or revised and expanded in 2022. Excellent book detailing the importance and the necessity of using a system of notes called the slipbox method, also known as by its German title of Zettelkasten. Okay, and what this style of note-taking is the ability to take in any sort of text, and you have some sort of fleeting ideas that catch your eye, and at a certain point in your day or a little bit after you have read your passage, then you take those quick notes that you have read and you turn them into a format where they are a completely independent and encapsulated idea that is then placed in a specific arrangement within something called the slipbox. And the slipbox is nothing more than a series of notes that have specific keywording and specific numerical values that allow you to create streams of thoughts along similar lines. Okay? And each thought would then have its own idea, and then each sub-thought would then be like 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, so on and so forth. That's how the slipbox method would work. Okay? And so that is what Sonke Ahrens is going over in this book, How to Take Smart Notes, and he's advocating for the use of it. Like I said, there is a link below this video to the book, How to Take Smart Notes by Sonke Ahrens. Really, I highly recommend it. Please add it to your library. I am taking notes on a Wacom Intuos Pro Small tablet, okay? And that link is below in case you're interested. And the website that I'm using is a website that I created. It's called word lookup for Gregg strokes on render.com, and this website is nothing more than the ability to enter some sort of word, phrase, or segment and then search for the results. You have the ability to switch between mirrored and normal view, light dark mode, all that sort of stuff. You can go between exact mode and segment mode. There are a few interesting features. But that project is available below this page as well. It's an open source project. You can view the code on GitHub, and I am actively adding more and more outlines to it as I encounter them during the course of my writing. And with that being said, I believe we are ready to get started. I do all of my shorthand in what is known as mirrored format. Mirrored format. This means that when I am writing, from my point of view, I am writing the text on the right-hand side of the paper and traveling to the left, as opposed to the normal method, which is to start on the left-hand side and work your way across to the right-hand side. Okay, so I do mirrored format because I'm left-handed, and it is more efficient and more facile for me to drag the pen across the page than it would be for me to push across the page. Okay, that's the benefit of mirrored handwriting. What that means, though, is that on your end, you're going to see the website as having all of the text inverted. That is on purpose so that when I am searching for any particular words, you are able to see what the correct form would be. So I of course always mention the word that I am looking up, so you can make that correlation. Also, the notepad itself is also flipped, so if you see the mouse looking a little bit funny or strange, then you know that that is completely intentional, and that is to make it easier for anyone else who would be interested in shorthand to be able to acquire the ability to see how the text is written in normal view. Okay, maybe one point I will go back and I will take the time to demonstrate how to do left-handed view, but left-handed folks, so we are only 10% of the population, give or take a little bit, and so therefore it's a better use of time, it's a better use of the stream time to demonstrate normal flow of Gregg shorthand for the rest of the population. Let us go ahead and begin. And I am currently on page 81 of the book, How to Take Smart Notes. In particular, this is section number 2, the 6 steps for successful writing. And in particular, this is read for understanding. This is section 10. There are, or I should say chapter 10, and this is chapter 10.3, Get the Gist. Excuse me. He has just, Sonke or Ahrens has just been talking about the necessity for creating your own understanding for taking notes. You can't just copy the notes down. You can't copy quotes. Otherwise, you don't really derive the value of the process of note-taking. Okay? Note-taking is ultimately about building understanding. If you don't build understanding, then you essentially haven't done the work of note-taking. Note-taking always has to result in understanding. With that being said, let me get started. Over here, we were still on the Niklas Luhmann quotation, and I will begin. The problem, let's see, we were on, I'm going to start at the beginning of the Luhmann quote, and then we will pick up where I left off. The problem with reading academic texts seems to be that we need not the short-term memory, but the long-term memory to develop reference points for distinguishing the important things from the less important, the new information from the mere repeated. But it is, of course, impossible to remember everything. That would be rote learning. To put it differently, one has to read extremely selectively and extract widespread and connected references. And that's where we left off. Now we will continue. One has to be able to follow reoccurrences. One has to be able to follow reoccurrences. One has to be able to follow reoccurrences. Follow. And then reoccurrences. So we're going to go look in the dictionary for that. And reoccurrences is spelled R-E-C-U-R-R-E. And there's reoccurrence, okay? So recurrence. Let's go ahead and write that down. And if this stream, by the way, is very boring and not at all interesting, that is entirely on purpose. This would be the academic equivalent of hitting the gym. And in the same way that it's boring to watch people lift, it's boring to watch people do reps. I mean, some people are very entertaining to watch. Just look at Eddie Hall. Then of course that's something. But for the majority of people, just sit in there, do their boring work, and go home, and they come back months later and they look amazing. This is an equivalent task in that I'm trying to make the mind look amazing, which of course is a lesson in futility because no one can see your mind. But the purpose is to develop strength and agility in the mind and to develop true understanding. Okay, so that's why it looks very boring. It is very boring, and you are welcome. So let's go ahead and start with reoccurrence. Reoccurrences. Okay, one has to be able to follow reoccurrences. But how to learn it if guidance is impossible? But how to learn it if guidance is impossible? So I wonder if that was a typo or a mistranslation, but I'll copy what is there. So we have, but how to learn it if guidance is impossible? If guidance is impossible. And then ... which means that we took a little bit of the reference out. Okay. ... also known as ellipses, right? Ellipses mean that some text has been removed. It's called an elision. Probably the best method is to take notes. Probably the best method is to take notes. So for that, we're going to go probably the best method is to take notes. Okay. Not excerpts. Okay, so we go here. This is not excerpts. So we're going to go excerpts. Trying to remember how that goes. Excerpts. That does not look correct. Go ahead and check. ESEP. ESEP. I was thinking that there was a double E. I should have gone with that, but it's okay. Not excerpts. Okay. Where was that? Probably the best method is to take notes, not excerpts, comma, but condensed, reformulated accounts of a text. Not excerpts, but condensed. So we're going to go condensed, and that one would be condensed. Reformulated, so we're going to go reform, and then ulate is going to be, I believe we can do that for ulated. Let's see what formulate is, though. I'm going to go over here, and we're looking for formulate. Formulate, and that is correct. So reformulated would then be an R in the front of it. Reformulated accounts of a text. Move down the page, and we get to accounts of the, let's see here, accounts of a text. Accounts of a text. Rewriting what was already written. So we go rewriting what was already written almost automatically trains one to shift. Almost, so we have almost automatically trains one to shift the attention, trains one to shift the attention. So we have attention toward frames. So move up the page, toward frames, patterns, and categories. Frames, patterns, and categories in the observations. In the, and then observation is OB-shun. OB-SH. Check that and see. Observe. That's observant. And there's observation. So observation requires an SE shun. SE shun, okay? So we'll put that underneath. OB observation. And then it's plural, so we had an S below that. Observations. Or the conditions / assumptions. So comma. Or the, and then conditions / assumptions. And that's assumptions. That is incorrect. That would be assumptions. Let's go ahead and check assumption. Assumption and assumptions. Good, good. Comma. Let's now see what the next part is. Which enable certain but not other descriptions. Which enable certain but not other. Certain but not other descriptions. It makes sense to always ask the question. It makes sense to always ask the question, colon, what is not meant? What is excluded? What is not meant? What is excluded? What is not meant? What is excluded? What is excluded? Now, excluded, I don't know if, I think I've done it before, so that one would be exclude. So excluded. Let's see if that is exclude. Ah, even better. Exclude is just the exter, it's the exter prefix followed by a D. Exter prefix followed by D, okay? So we'll go ahead and remove this value here, and we go exter, and then ood for exclude. And then excluded is simply making it a little bit longer. Excluded. What is not meant? What is excluded if a certain claim is made? If a certain, come on, oh, clean that up, there we go. If a certain claim is made. If someone speaks of human rights, and that's in quotes, if someone speaks of, quote, human rights, and that is colon, unquote, what distinction is made? So that was the phrase, if you will. What distinction is made? So we go what, and then distinction is going to be that's the same as distinguish. So we go distinction is made. Is made. A distinction toward non-human rights? A distinction toward, quote, non-human rights? Unquote. That's a question. Human duties? That's another term. Human. Wait. There we go. Human. Do. Hold on. Try do. Oh. Too many. Go pull back. Human duties. And that one was another quote because he's talking about different subjects. And that was another question. Is it a cultural comparison or one with some historic people? So is it a culture? Is it a cultural? Is it a cultural comparison? So here we go. Is it and culture? Let's go. It's I need more line here, I think. Cultural. That's way too much. Let's go ahead and figure out what cultural is. Cultural. Almost. That's almost correct. So let's go ahead and clean this up a little bit. There's our K value. K, L, T going up, then R goes out, and then L. Is it a cultural comparison? Now, comparison is going to be, is it compares? That does not look right. Let's try comparison. Okay, it was close. It was close. It's KPRSN. KPRSN. comparison, or one with some historic people, or one with some and then historic people who didn't have the concept of human rights. Try that again. Who didn't have the concept of human rights. But lived okay together anyway. Oh, that's funny. But lived okay, but lived okay, okay together anyway. Together any way. Often the text does not give an answer or a clear answer to this question. Often a text does not give an answer or a clear answer to this question. But then one has to resort to one's own imagination. But then one has to resort, and resort. See if that's correct. Resort. So we have to have the S in there in order to make it work. We go to resort to one's own imagination. One's own imagination is I believe. Let's check it. No, it does require the A vowel as well, the A circle. There we go. Imagination. And that one was the Luhmann quote. 2000. That was in 2000 when he said that. So Luhmann 2000. Or that's when it was published, and that was page 154. 154. Okay, and that was F. All right, so that's that block quote. Let's go ahead and check it again. So go back in over here. The problem with reading academic texts seems to be, let's go ahead and pull that back through here. We go over to the previous line, zoom in on the paragraph marker, which is where? The paragraph marker being here. Where is it? There we go. And that's the quote from Luhmann. So let's actually read the portion just before it as well, which is where he says, I suggest. Okay, so this is Sonke Ahrens' words right here, and then he switches over to Nicholas Luhmann. Let me grab the highlighter. Let us begin. I suggest taking this literally. The ability to use one's own understanding is a challenge. In a given what? is a challenge, not a given. Lumen Lumen stresses. Lumen stresses the importance of permanent notes in this regard. And then here's the quote. The problem with reading academic texts seems to be that we need not the short-term memory, but the long-term memory to develop that should be reference points for distinguishing the important things from the less important. What is that? Less important. The new information from the mere repeated. But it is of course impossible to remember everything. That would be rote memory. To put it differently, one has to read extremely selectively and extract Oedipus and extract widespread and connected references. One has to be able to put one has to be able to follow what is this? Reoccurrences. But how to here we go. But how to learn it if guidance is impossible? Provided, what's that? Probably, let me check. I'm sure that was probably. Yes. Probably the best method is to take notes, not excerpts, but what is that? That would be formulate, but condensed, reformulated, yeah. But condensed, reformulated, but dense, reformulated accounts of a text. Rewriting what was already written. I need to check condensed though to make sure that was condensed. Over here, let's try condensed. And yes, that's correct. And then condensed, you add to it. All right, so let's keep on going. So we have rewriting what also only written. Rewriting what was already written almost automatically trains you to sift the attention toward, let's make toward just a little longer, sift the attention toward frames, patterns, and categories in the observations, or the conditions slash, and slash should have a couple lines to show that it's not a phonetic form, conditions or assumptions. It enables, or is it enable? Which enable? Which enable? So there we need to move the H up a little bit higher and put it on a little bit more of a slant in order to separate it from a T. Which, and then we go back here, enable certain but not other descriptions. It makes, you see, so the it would have to be moved down a little bit here. There we go. It makes sense to always ask the question, what is not meant? What is not meant? Excluded. What is excluded? Did I forget that portion? What is not meant? What is excluded? I need to add that. So we go, what is, here we go. What is excluded? If a certain claim is made, if someone speaks of, let me check speaks. Where's speaks? Yep, that is speaks. If someone speaks of human rights, moving on, what distinction is made? Distinction toward, isn't that the other way? Isn't that the loop? Well, the loop should be a little longer for sure. A tad longer, so let's go ahead and clean that up just a hair. Make the loop open down just a bit. Up and then down. There we go. Close it down and we continue. Is it a distinction toward non-human rights or human duties? Is it a cultural comparison, or one with some historic people who didn't have the concept of human rights. There we go. Human rights, but lived okay together anyway. Often, text often text. Often the text. Wait, undo. Anyway, often the text. Wonder I must have gotten that wrong. Often the text does not give an answer or a clear answer to this question. But then one has to resort to one's own imagination. And that was Lumen 2000, page 154, letter F. Okay. All right, so now let's go ahead and continue on. The better you become in doing this, the quicker you can jot down notes, which are still helpful. So essentially he's saying the sooner you can spot the patterns, the more easily the notes can be made. And that is true. After a few weeks or months, depending on how intensive your work is, you will be able to spot patterns lickety-split, and you zero in on those patterns, and you learn how to cut out a lot of that extra information. So let's continue. The better you become in doing this, the better you become in doing this, the quicker you can jot down notes which are still helpful. The better you become in doing this, the quicker you can jot down notes which are still helpful. The quicker you can, move this over here, you can become, no, the better you become in doing this, the quicker you can jot. You can jot down notes. Jot down notes which are still helpful. Which are still helpful. Which are still helpful. Lumen's notes are very condensed. Lumen's notes are very condensed. So condensed. And that was according to Schmidt 2015. So Schmidt 2015. Okay? With practice comes the ability to find the right words to express something. With practice comes the ability to find the right words, to find the right words to express something, and then express, I think, is XPRS. Let me check and see if that is correct. There are so many variants of that express, explain, exploit, experience, that they all start to run together for me. So I know I'll get there one day. So we have express, and it is just EXPR. No need for an S below. So we have EXPR. To express with ability comes the ability to find the right words to express something in the best possible way. To express something in the best possible way. Moving on, which means in a simple but not simplified way. Which means in a simple but not simplified way. Which means in a simple but, but not, and then simplified. So simplified is going to be simplified. Now let's see if that is correct. It might just be simif. We'll take a look. Simple, and then phi. There it is. Yep, so it is simplif. Simplif. Simplify. Don't you just love Gregg? All right, so we go simplif and then a D on there to make it simplified. All right. So that was with practice, which means in a simple but not simplified way. End of sentence. Not only will the readers of your text appreciate your ability, so not only will your readers appreciate, not only will the readers, not only will the readers of your text, of your text appreciate. Appreciate, that's going to be APR, and then that is this symbol here. That's the diphthong, or it's like a half diphthong. So you go appreciate, like so. They will appreciate, and let's confirm that that is the case. Appreciate. Come, gentlemen. Ah, nope. That's not correct. So it's even shorter, which is better. And so that's APRE and then SH. APRESH. Let's go ahead and erase that and go APRES, the SH symbol. They will appreciate your ability, add a new line below this. This is page 14. So we go how to HTTS in, and this is section number 10, page 14. Page 14. Good. Back up to the top. The ability. They will appreciate your ability to explain something clearly, appreciate your ability to, now here's another one, so explain is XPL, I believe. We've done explore, let's check and see explain. Explain, yes, EXPL. Not only will the readers of your text appreciate your ability to explain something clearly, those you talk to will benefit from this ability as well, comma. Those you talk to will benefit. Those you talk to will, and then benefit. I think that's benefit. Benef. Benef. Yep. No need for a vowel at all. So we just go ben. Will benefit. Those you talk to will benefit from this ability as well. From this ability as well, comma, as it is not limited to writing. As it is, and as it is, that's a case where we can do as it is, not limited to writing. Not limited to writing. Period. It spills over into speaking and thinking. It spills, and I think spill is just SPLS. Let's check and see if that's correct. It could be an I thrown in there, but we'll see. Go over to the search bar. There we go. Spill. App, and it does require the little vowel marker. So we'll go ahead and add it. But spills. It spills over into speaking and thinking. It spills over into speaking and thinking. It is proven that readers regard an author. It is, and then proven, so PRVN, that readers regard an author I believe that's author. It is proven that readers regard an author. Yes. So let's try author. Where's author? Author. Oh, it curves the other direction. It curves away from the line of writing, not up. So we go ahead and grab that. It is proven that readers regard an author and an audience, a speaker, and an audience. So that's audience. So audience. I'm going to guess that it's that, but let's go ahead and check. Audience. Oh, okay. So no need for the extra E. It's simply just the curve of the DN stroke. Audience. Audience. And an audience, a speaker, as more intelligent, the more clear. So as more and this is intelligent. Let me check that. This requires the circle. That's right. We did this, I think this was yesterday. We had the word intelligent. As more intelligent, the more clear and to the point, the more, come on, the more clear and to the point their expressions are. Their expressions is EXPRSHR. And that was Oppenheimer. So that's Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer. And let's put this a little higher. Oppenheimer. Haven't seen that movie yet. I do want to watch it sometime. Has one of my favorite actors in it, so that'd be enjoyable. Later though, once all my schoolwork is done. I've got to stay busy. Stay busy for a little while longer, and then I'll be able to rest. Okay, so 2006. Okay, and that was Oppenheimer. Now I need to check expressions. So let's go ahead and do expression, like so, and that was correct, except we need the E. We need the E stroke. So we go EXESH, EXPRESH, and then expressions. Okay. We can go ahead and bump up the light on this just a little bit. Looks like I'm coming out of the page or something like that. That's kind of funny. Let's go ahead and bump the light up here. Maybe just the gamma. Gamma can come up. Maybe the brightness itself can come up just a little bit. There we go. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, it's a little better. All right. Let us proceed now, shall we? Oi. Stretchy stretch. 1 hour left. 1 hour left. It's 8 o'clock right now, so that's a wonderful thing. Okay, so we just did the Oppenheimer quote, which means that I now have to go back through and have to check if I can read the paragraph. So we go back, I'm looking for the better you become in doing this. Hopefully we just have the, there it is right there. And of course I forgot the paragraph marker. We did have the reference before it, so that helped us, but there's the paragraph marker. So move that there, make this small. We don't need that full. Oh, come on, stop. Don't. Stop. Stop. Go back to normal size. Make you small, boy. Come on. There. There you stay. Moving the chat out of the way. All right, so here's our highlighter. Here's the highlighter, and we begin. The better you become in doing this, the quicker you can jot down notes, which are still helpful. Luhmann's notes were very condensed. That was according to Schmidt, 2015. With practice comes the ability to find the right words to express something in the best possible way, which means it in a simple but not a simplified way. Not only will the readers of your text appreciate your ability to explain something clearly, this if true, not only will the readers of your text appreciate your ability to explain something clearly, those you talk to will benefit from this ability as well, as it is not limited to writing. It SPEL, it not supplements, what is that? It spills, that's right. It spills over into speaking and thinking. It is proven that readers regard an author and an audience, a speaker, as, let's make that as just a little bit more pronounced, as, there we go, as more intelligent, the more clear and to the point the expressions are. And that was according to Oppenheimer, page or 2006. Moving forward, the ability to spot patterns. So this is a new paragraph. The ability to spot patterns, to question the frames, used. I never even checked. Is it a disjointed T? I know I've used it before. It is disjointed. Okay, so change that. The frames used. Where are we? And detect the distinctions made by others. To question the frames used and then detect. So that one would be, detect. Is that just it's a long DT and then EK. That would be detect, correct? Correctamundo, good. And detect the distinctions made by others, and detect the distinctions. It's going to be distinct. Oh yeah, that's right. This is distinctions. Same as distinguish. Distinctions made by others. Is the precondition to thinking critically. So comma. Is the, and then precondition. Precondition. Let's see if that works. So we go down here, precondition to thinking critically. To thinking critically. I need to check precondition. And that is correct. Good. Check the precondition. Good enough. That K is a little bit wonky, but it's not long enough to be a G. And looking behind the assertions of a text or a talk. And looking behind. So behind is behind the assertions? No. Yeah, the assertions of a text or a talk. The assertion. So that's going to be assertions. Let's see if that's correct. Oh, totally not. So that's right. Gregg really doesn't use a whole lot of R's. So anytime, I mean, this is already the second time today, I think, where I've added an extra R, and I found out that no, that's really not necessary. This would be another example. Assertion. Assertions. Like so. Make it just a little bit smaller. Like that. Behind the assertions of a text or a talk. Of a text or a talk. Period. Being able to reframe questions. Being able to reframe questions, assertions and information, questions, assertions and information is even more important, is even more important than having an extensive knowledge. Wow, that's important. Being able to reframe questions, assertions, and information is even more important than having an extensive knowledge. More important than having an extensive knowledge. Because without this ability, comma, so because without this ability, we wouldn't be able to put our knowledge to use, comma, we wouldn't be able to put our knowledge to use. The good news is that these skills can be learned. The good news, the Evangelion, the good news is that these skills can be learned. All right. Yay. But it requires deliberate practice. But it and then requires deliberate practice. Okay. And that one was Ericsson, Kramp, and Terschromer in 1993. 1993. So Ericsson, comma, Kramp, or is it? Yeah, Kramp. So Kramp, Kramp. Let's make it just a little bit more pronounced. So Kram and then P. And Terschrumer. And Terschrumer. So that would be Tersch hyphenated Rumer. So that would be Rumer. Like so. Terschrumer. That was in 1993. So we go 1, 9, 9, and then 3. And then another study by Anders Ericsson, which we've used already, haven't we? We've done Anders. We need Anders Ericsson. Oh, that's the same. I wonder if that's the same Ericsson. So we go Ericsson. Ericsson. All right. That was 2008. 2008. Close down these parentheses. Taking smart notes is the deliberate practice. So we go taking smart notes is the deliberate practice of these skills. Once again, I wish I could be doing smart notes instead of shorthand, but one skill at a time, right? Oy. Of these, taking smart notes is the deliberate practice of these skills, period. Mere reading, comma, underlining, underlining, sentences, so we go sentences, and hoping to remember the content is not. And hoping, here we go, hoping, 2 dots on this one, hoping to remember. That's funny. Yeah, boy. I couldn't remember the word remember. Here we go. Remember, hoping to remember The content is not. The content is not. And that's the paragraph there. So now let's go ahead and go back through and check it over. Let's grab a quick drink of water first. Okay. Oi. Oi, oi, oi. Oh. Let's go back to the ability. Where's the ability? That was 1993. The ability. There it is. Zoom in, grab the section, and we start work. So grab here. The ability to, what was that? The ability to spot patterns, to question the frames used, and detect the distinctions made by others is not is the precondition to thinking critically and looking looking behind the assumptions, no, the assertions. I need to check behind I'm pretty sure it's that simple, but behind. Yep, that's behind. Behind. Okay. The behind the assertions of a text or a talk. That almost looks like an R, so I need to straighten this up just a bit. Let's do talk. There we go. Or a talk. Being able to reframe. Yeah. Oi. Being able to reframe questions, assertions, and I put that the wrong way, so let me flip it around. Assertions. Assertions and information is even more important than having an extensive knowledge, because with it, without this ability, we would not be able to put our knowledge to use and go in and go to use. The good news, let me check news. Is news or is it just in US? Yep, that's news. The good news, go ahead and straighten this up just a little bit here. So we need to make this news a little bit more of a curve. The good news is that these SPLS, these it's skill, SK. The skills can be learned, but it requires deliberate practice, and that is according to Erickson, Kramp, and Tischraumer. Is that right? Rumer? Yes. Terschrumer, 1993, and then Ericsson, Anders Ericsson, 2008. Taking smart notes is the deliberate practice of these what? Of these skills. Where were skills? Oh, of these skills. I need to find a place to put that. Of these. See, I can just barely put it in there. Ha. Skills. Poor baby. All right. Skills. Mere reading, underlining sentences, and hoping to remember is hoping to remember the content is not. That's the, yeah, okay. Woo! All right, so that takes care of all of page 82. All of page 82, which is a wonderful thing. And so now I can go ahead and begin section 10.4, which is learn to read. Okay. So learn to read, section 10.4. Here we go. 10.4. This is learn to read. Learn to read. And next section. If you can't say it clearly, you don't understand it yourself. And that is according to John Searle. So this is our quote at the beginning. If you can't say it clearly. If you can't say it clearly, you don't understand it yourself. You don't understand it yourself. And that is according to John Searle. That's John Searle. John Searle. Searle. New line. Physicist and Nobel Prize winner Richard Feynman. So physicist. I know that's in the dictionary. Let's see if I can do it. So we go physicist. Let's see if that's correct. P-H-Y-C-I. Right? No, S-I. P-H-Y-S-I-C-I-S and then S-T. Double E. So it goes physicist and then it just drops down below behind it. So we go close this down. We go physicist and Nobel Prize winner and Nobel. So we go Nobel Prize winner. Richard Feynman. So we go Richard Feynman. Ooh, charred. Charred would be, doesn't it flip it around the other way? Yes, it does. What do we have? Isn't that virtuous? Yes, virtuous does the same thing. So with Richard, all we do is we just flip the circle around on the other side. So we go Richard Richard. There we go. And then Feynman. We go Feynman. Feynman. Probably Feynman. Here we go. Feynman. Richard Feynman once said that he could only determine and then determine. Is that determine? Wow. That's shortened. That is a shortened determine. Oy. He could only determine. Let's go ahead and put that. Oh, undo. Clean this up here. And determine. He could only determine whether he understood something, so we go, what is that? It's, whether he understood something. Oh, undo. Whether he understood something, if he could give an introductory lecture on it. If he could give an introductory. Let's see what introductory is. Introductory. Okay, it's DKRE. There we go. Hi, almost there. An introductory lecture on it. And that's the paragraph. Reading with a pen in your hand. Reading with a pen in your hand is the small scale equivalent of a lecture. Is the small scale equivalent. Let me check small. Is that scale? Yes, that's scale, and I know that's small. So small scale and then equivalent, equivalent. That is going to be equivalent. Oh no. Oh, this is the one that has the A. It's the equivalent, and then you do a line under there. Yes, it's one of those. It's a funny one like that, right? Oh, it's an E, but as opposed to an A, and it's just, oh, it doesn't even have the NT below. Lovely. So it's just it is just equivalent, okay? So there's our lovely equivalent. Reading with a pen in your hand is the small scale equivalent of a lecture. Lecture. There we go. Period. And then we go permanent notes, comma, to, comma, are directed towards an audience, towards an oh, and this one was the audience, ignorant of the thoughts behind the text, ignorant of the thoughts behind the text, ignore, and that's way too advanced. I know. I'm sure they have it a lot smaller. It's probably just ig. Let's see. Yes. How did I guess that? Oh man. Oh, I'm tired. Okay. I'm tired, boss. All right, so the ignorant. Yes, that's just IG. I'm so ignorant. Here we go. Instagram, IG is also ignorant. There we go. Towards an audience ignorant of the thoughts behind the text. Ignorant of the thoughts behind the text. And unaware of the original context. And unaware, so that should just be an UN or maybe just an in. Unaware. Let's check that out. There. Unaware. And that's what it is. Unaware of the original context. Unaware of the original context. Only equipped with a general knowledge of the field, comma. So only equipped. And this one is like equivalent, so it's going to be equipped. Let's check that and see. Notice equivalent and equipped are almost the same. Equip. Oh, because that would be a quiff. Yeah, we don't want that. But equip. Yeah, it switches back around. So that would be an F value. We need a P value. So equipped. Only equipped with a general knowledge of the field. Equipped with a general knowledge of the field. The only difference is that the audience here, the only difference is that the audience here consists of our future selves. So we go consists. Is that just consists? Consists. Oh, interesting. You then put another little curve in there to get consists. So you take con, flip through like that, and then put another curve in to get consists. So you go con down, right? We go con here, sists. Consists of, what was that? Consists of our future selves, of our, sounds like Dr. Peterson, consists of our future selves, SLV, or no, SL, and then is it just SS? Let's see what selves is. Interesting. What is self? That is self. So selves, I'm going to go out on a limb and think that self is just selves. I think that we can get by with that if we just do selves. So selfs. And then that can then be turned into selves. So we go selves, like so. Okay? Our future selves, which will very soon have reached the same state, so comma, which will very soon reach the same state of ignorance, which will very soon reach the same state of ignorance as someone who never had access, as someone who never had access to what we have written about, to what we, let's make this a phrase, we have written about, period. Of course, it would be helpful to involve other people at all stages. Of course, it would be helpful to involve other people, and then involve. Involve is going to be, let me see if I can guess this one. Come on. There we go. And this is, I first have to add another page before I do the word involve. HTTS in, and then we have, this is still section 10, page number 15. I think I had said that we were probably going to get to page 20 on this, so we'll see. 10.4. I think there are 5 sections in here, or 6 sections, not sure. Okay, so anyway, back to what we were doing here. We were doing involve. So involve is going to be to involve. So that one is involve, V-L-V. Involve. Let's see if that's what it is. To involve. And it's probably just in V. Okay, so it's just in V-O-L. N-V-O-L. Right? So let's go ahead and erase this section here. Come on. There we go. And we do in, come on, involve. Lovely. It would be it would be helpful to involve other people. Ooh, all right. Other people at all stages of the writing process. At all, and stages is STG, stages of the writing process. But because then we can see in their faces. That's funny. Because we can see in their faces how well we have put something. How well we have put, there's put, and then we need something up here. How well we have put something, or how convincing our arguments are, or how, and then convincing our arguments, AGM, arguments are. Comma. But that is rather impractical. But that is rather impractical. Impractical. Let's take a look. See if that's correct. Impracticable. Impractical. So we need practical. And yep, that's the same as practice. And then you just put a disjointed K. It did occur to me that would be hilarious. That would be a hilarious, or I mean, it could be taken in the horror direction or just funny. The idea of a writer who kidnaps people for for the sole purpose of then having them listen to their ideas. So this person, they're trapped and they have to be the brainstorm, or they have to be the first audience of the author. I can just imagine that. Can I go home now? No, you can't. No, you can't. You haven't listened to your share of brainstorming yet. Okay, so that was the end of the paragraph. So now we go ahead and go back through and read the previous paragraph. Where does it start? Right here, 10.4. There we are. Okay, so let's go ahead and get here's our marker. So 10.4, learn to read. If you cannot say it clearly, you don't understand it. You don't understand it yourself. And that was John Searle. Okay, and then it says here, physicist and Nobel, and this should be capitalized, and Nobel Prize is also capitalized because it's a proper noun. Nobel Prize winner, Richard, and then Feynman needs to have the hyphens underneath. Richard Feynman once said that he could only determine whether he understood something. Is understood the same as understand? I'm pretty sure they are. No, understood uses the U-hook. That's right. Understood has a U-hook. He only understood. So let's fix this. Understood. Also, I need to check once I've saved this, and to make the change here. Understood. I also need to check whether. Uwe. WHETHER. Oh, that's okay. That's why I had started the U a little bit too low. So let's go ahead and make this a little higher up on the line. Understood whether, there we go, whether he understood something if he could give an introductory lecture on it. Reading with a pen in your hand is the small scale equivalent of a lecture. Permanent notes to towards two are directed. Oh wait, how did I do that? To I made a mistake. What was that? Towards an audience are directed. Oh, I see. Two are directed towards. I failed to get the directed. Two are directed are directed, so that's D R K and then the disjointed T are directed towards an audience ignorant of the thoughts behind the text and unaware of the organizational context. Yes. Hooray. Is that organizational? I think organize and organizational are the same. Let me check that. Organizational. Okay, yes, I'm gonna put an L there. I think actually I added it as an L, so there we go. Organizational context. Only equipped with general knowledge of the frame of the field. Oh. Interesting. Of the field, and the only difference is that the audience here consists of our future selves, which will very soon reach the same state of ignorance as someone who never had access to what we have written about. Of course, it would be helpful to involve other people at all stages of the writing process because we can say, undo. Is it saved? Because we can say, because then we can see, that's a C, okay? Because then we can see in their faces how well we have put, and then something is up here, how well we have put something, or how convincing our arguments are. Let's look up convince. Yes, convince just requires an E stroke after this, so there we go. how convincing. How convincing our arguments are, but that is rather impractical. All right, 11 minutes left. Oi. Oi, 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 oi. Doing all right, doing all right. Getting there, for sure. Let's have another little sip of water. Okay. So we could just keep on plugging away. And here's our next line. But also, we shouldn't underestimate the advantages of writing. So also, we shouldn't what is underestimate? Oh, that's interesting. Estimate. E-S-T-M-A, estimate. So that one would be E-S-T-M-A-T. We shouldn't underestimate. Let's see here. Underestimate. Underestimate. And that's correct. Good. Hooray, hooray. We shouldn't. Do I straighten this up here? Oh, undo. We shouldn't underestimate the advantages of writing. We shouldn't underestimate the advantages. Let's take a look at that. Advantage. Yes, yes. Oh, advantages is just the S at the bottom. That's right. We shouldn't underestimate the advantages of writing. Underestimate the advantages of writing, period. In oral presentations, so that's is present? Presentions, right? Is just presentation. Let me look up oral. Oh, no need for an A. Just oral. O-R-L. O-R-L. Oral, and then presentations. Check out presentation. Presentation. Yes, that's correct. And then plural would be then just the S below that. In oral presentations, we easily get away with unfounded claims. We easily get away with unfounded claims. Is going to need to be on a new line. Claims. We can distract from argumentative gaps we can distract from argumentative gaps. So argument, and then it's just a V underneath. Argumentative should be the underlying V. Argumentative. Oh, nope, I'm all wet. I am all wet. That should be argument, and then that does the ATV on the back side. So let's go ahead and flip this around. And you go argumentative. Boy, gaps with confident gestures. Argumentative gaps with confident gestures. Confident. Let's take a look at that. Confident. Oh, just F. There we go. With confident gestures. And gesture is going to be gesture. Gesture. Let's see what gesture is. Gesture. So the full, it needs the full thing. The full name. Gesture. With confident gestures or drop. There we go. Gestures. Or drop a casual or drop. Is that drop? Have I done drop before? Yep. Drop and then a casual. KSU. Casual. So that's here. Casual. Okay, we can distract or drop a casual. You know what I mean. So that's quote. You know what I mean. Unquote. And then it's irrespective of whether we know what we meant. Another cute one. Irrespective. So let's grab that. Irrespective of whether we know. Let's try irrespective. Irrespective. There we go. Irrespective of whether we know what we meant. Period. In writing, these maneuvers are a little too obvious. Love that. In writing, these and then maneuvers. So that's maneuvers. Let's see if that is taken for maneuver. Okay, so it does require the R, but it's just a disjointed M. It's M all the way across, M in stroke down, and then you add a V, R, and then S for maneuvers. I think you do the S in the opposite direction. So you go M in V, R, S, like so. Maneuvers. In writing, these maneuvers are a little too obvious. Are little too obvious. Period. It is easy to check a statement like, but that is what I said. It is easy to check a statement. It is easy to check a statum. What is statement? Oh, it's just STM, a statement, STM, to check a statement like, like, but that is what I said. Quote, but that is what I said! Exclamation point. All right, so with that, oh, actually, well, you know, we're almost done. There's one more sentence, so we'll finish out the paragraph. The most important advantage of writing is that it helps us to confront. It helps us to confront ourselves when we do not understand. When we do not understand something as well as we would like to believe. That's the end of the paragraph. So let's go ahead and read through that, and then we'll call it an evening. It's an evening. Where is our paragraph marker? There it is. Here we go. Save the document. Also, there we go. We should not underestimate the advantages of writing. In not only presentations, we easily get, in oral, that's right. In oral presentations, we easily get away with unfounded. We get away with unfounded claims. We can distract from argumentative gaps with confident gestures, or drop casual, you know what I mean, irrespective of whether we italicized, know what we mean. In writing these maneuvers are a little too obvious. It is easy to check a statement like, but that's what I said! Exclamation mark. The more important advantage of writing is that it helps us to confront ourselves when we do not understand something as well as we would like to believe. Beautiful. All right, that is the end. That is the end of this session tonight. So thank you very much for joining in. Once again, this was Copywork for How to Take Smart Notes by Sonke Ahrens, and hope everyone is doing well tonight. Please check out the book. Go ahead and get a copy for yourselves, and we'll plug on with this tomorrow, and hopefully we'll make some really good headway. Speed is already beginning to pick up, and it can only get better from here. So, adios, God bless, and have a good night. Bye-bye.